I probably wouldn't be caught dead wearing Tarantulas' colors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's time for the main event, the main piece, the piece de resistance, Botcon 2016, 20th anniversary, Beast Wars Predacus. This is gorgeous. And now, I get to move this back on my neat little, see what I got here going on? I have a little tray. Got a tray. There we go. So now we can take a look at this box art. Very vivid. It's much like the box art of the Unite Warriors packaging. Of course, it's got the same kind of quality that you might expect out of anything from Botcon. So the cardboard is exquisite. It's not some kind of bubbly paper that will lift up off the cardboard. The print work is excellent. The colors are dynamic on this. I can't wait to open it up, so let's go. How about that? Alright, first impressions. The red is a little muted. Alright, so I got a feeling that I want to take a look at Tarantulas first. Because he's calling out to me. Let's have a look.
So they say.
This is brilliantly vivid. Look at that. Oh, that's a deep little purple, or I think it's like a navy blue, and it's got a slight metallic fleck to it. It's barely there, but it's got this silver sparkly shine on it. And look at there, you've got tools painted into the sides there, and green all the way around, just like he has his spider eyes in the show. And this is exactly like his spider teeth up front. Yeah, Predacon symbol right there on the side. This one is very, very visually appealing just by itself. But when you compare it to the original Transmetal Tarantulas, you're gonna really appreciate this. Check that out. The colors are practically identical, all except for the idea of gold chrome there versus this vibrant gold paint there. But, oh, that's just brilliant. Would you look at that? And all of these parallels come across. And it's really smart that they were able to use the Rook mold for this, because he has more than 4 wheels, just like a spider has more than 4 legs. It's kind of an interesting idea of having multiple axles. That works for me. And then a little bit of gold in here on the back, just like this has gold on the back. I'm not sure, though, where they got the idea for red rims. Oh. Neat. But perhaps that was to tie in better from Tarantulas' color scheme into the rest of the box set for everything else that's going on here. And it's just occurred to me that these details on the sides that are painted in silver are in direct link and mimicry to these up on the side there. It's like they paid attention. Ooh, interesting. Interesting on the head. The head is a little doofy. It kind of looks like a Chinese cat, like somehow Chubserfied of Tarantulas. Well, we'll see how it works out, because there's a possibility that may be in order to try and also balance the rotundness, shall we say, of the Rook mold here. Maybe this painted detail here might scratch in the future. Let's hope not. Oh, and then all this painted detail. Oh yeah, I gotta be careful of that. Surprisingly taller, and of course much stockier. These two give off a very different kind of presence. With the original Transmetal Tarantulas, you get this really remarkable silhouette of all his legs coming up in the background. Whereas with this one, you get a much more bruiser kind of idea. I'm thinking that they both show off both sides of his characteristics. Like, if this one was spindlier, and it showed off more of his cunning. And then this one showed off how ruthless he was in efforts to try and secure his own place in his plans in his plans in the overall scheme of things. First of all, things that I'm noticing right now between these two molds that are really clever on the place of paint apps is these green bits on the side and these green bits on the side, and of course all of the eyes up on his chest region here. I kind of wish that maybe in here, like the middle stripe of both of these pecs could have also been green, so then it would be more than 4. Because there's a lot more green populating this torso. And of course they had to avoid this main region here, because that's unpaintable plastic, so it's what have you. I really like it's almost like pinstriped detail here on the shins. And these feet are a brilliant kind of happenstance. Because what happens with the fork up here is it kind of looks like the fork of his toes down there. So despite the fact that he has a rather Chubser kind of head, probably to fit within the space in order to transform, I think it still makes for a really good Tarantulas. And even on the back of the heads, I noticed this while I was transforming everything, the backs of their heads even have the same eye detail on the back there. That's a lot of fun. If you don't compare him so much to the original Transmetal Tarantulas, then he's still a very interesting figure on his own. He's great to look at because his colors play so well together. And Tarantulas has always been one of the most characterful members of the Beast Wars cast, and you can hear his voice when you look through this toy. And just for your funsies, here he is right next to Rook, so you can kind of get an image of how much they played around with lines down here to change the shapes of everything, with the appearance size of the shoes in relationship to the rest of the shin. Between the two of these, I think I like Tarantulas better, and that's in an attempt to try and put my own biases aside for seniority of the character and whatnot, because I like his muted colors and the way that they go together. Of course, white and blue go wonderfully together. In fact, those consist of most of my wardrobe, white and blue. I probably wouldn't be caught dead wearing Tarantulas' colors. But there's something about the way that the cool muted colors of Tarantulas' body play with the neon colors of his feet and his green eye parts that is dramatically striking. Very impressive, I might add. Moving right along then.
Covert Agent Ravage at your service.
I like this. I like this. This is nice. And the headlights. Yeah. Just like red eyes. This is very well disguised. The entire underside, almost the entire underside, is just pure black. And a sideways Predacon logo. And and a Decepticon logo. That makes sense for the role that he had in the show. No spoilers. But I really like this color of blue-gray. It's not your typical kind of Combiner Wars windshield color, but it ties in the rear here. I never owned the Ravage toy from Beast Wars, but what I do have is Transmetal's Cheetor, so you can kind of get an idea for whatever good that'll do, really. But Ravage originally was a retool of this Cheetor mold. So make whatever kind of comparisons you may want to make between these two and try and look at the fastness of the car and the quickness of the feline. I'm not going to look too much into it. Honestly, the parallels here that we're trying to look for are most likely in the robot mode. They're not as strong as Tarantulas' were. Moving along then, let's compare it with Breakdown, the original mold. Ravage's tools are still inside the bottom of this box here, as with everyone's, so we'll get to them last. But I really like, and I like this with Sunstreaker, I like the whole front of this car without any hood ornaments on it. I mean, I really loved Breakdown, because Breakdown is my favorite Stunticon. I was really pulling for him to be my favorite. Some things in the robot mode kind of shattered that. I'm hoping that the stockiness and rather corgi-like nature of this robot mode will be perceived as stockier in Ravage's case.
You will harden by shooting the weapons from your hands.
Something I'm noting is that all of these gray parts feel rather powdery, like they might chip. It's an unsettling feeling.
You understand, we would prefer to handle this situation discreetly.
Ooh. Oh. Okay. Alright, here's the deal. I want to like Ravage. Because I really loved the idea of the Soviet spy that he was in the cartoon.
Soviet Ravage.
But the head is very much hollow. There's I mean not hollow, flat. It's very much flat. But the facial expression is there. The sculpt of it looks fantastic. There wasn't anything really in any of our promo shots that would have informed us that this head would be so sallow. I of course can understand that it's most likely due to needing to transform into this space because, well, can it go that way? It can stay forward. It doesn't even need to turn around. And there's a little, I mean, there's a little bit more room that you could have put it in there. Guys, why? There's room. You could have had a full head in there. There have been many other Combiner Wars toys with full-size heads. What is this? Damn, I was really hoping this one would be like one of the surprise stunners, you know? I was really hoping that this one would be one of the ones to really stand out on a Beast Wars shelf. If you look at it dead on, then it still is. It still can be. Because you're still looking at a wonderfully placed paint scheme that evokes the exact tone of gray from the cartoon, and his face mold, I mean the front half of it at the very least, is to a T what he looked like on the show. But where's the rest of his head? It's like he was lobotomized. Hey, maybe that's a theory. Maybe he was like half lobotomized into being like an agent. Maybe. Headcanon. That was terrible. Okay. Now for comparison time. Here he is next to that Cheetor mold. This is as close as I can really get because, like I said, I don't have the original Ravage toy. And this was dramatically retooled from Cheetor to Ravage. But it still gives you an idea as to the relative scale between the two of them and certain things like kibble placement, perhaps? Maybe? Who knows? I'm really grasping at straws here since I don't have that original mold. This is the best that I could do, really. Other things that I can show you are his comparison to Breakdown. Just to make of note, I modified Breakdown's hips so he looks a little bit shorter here because his hips come up a little bit more. And it definitely gives him more of a corgi stature. And what I was thinking before about Ravage looking stockier and having that be part of the kind of Soviet personality behind this is really coming through to this. And I think what helps that is the fact that his thighs and his waist piece are all the same color because your eye naturally moves like the hips to be up here rather than for the hips to be down here, and the black kind of disappears in that way. Also, I really like what's going on with the fact that the feet are the same color as the thighs, and then it's like those are the underlying bits of the substructure, and that it gently flays out towards this as it goes down to the bottom, and that the shins are more of like a piece of armor on top of that. So overall thoughts on Ravage, I really like everything except for the head. I am not entirely sure why he's been half lobotomized there. Who knows, it might have been another case of what happened with, what was it? Punch and Counterpunch. That's who it was. But that seemed like a rare instance, like it shouldn't have happened again. Maybe the club will tell more when they have their club panel, and they usually say more about their creative process for the box set, for the year's exclusives, for everything. So this is too early to know for sure. But that's an idea there. Moving on. Right then, so let's get right into it. I'm gonna cut that. Bloopers! Immediately bloopers. Probably to fit within the space of the space and